Welcome to the Constitutional Sheriff's Peace Officer Association Conference here in Tampa, Florida, that is titled Save America Conference. And I would like to say I'm Mike Cartwright, and I am proud to be a host. I'm very grateful that we have our featured speaker tonight, Sheriff Richard Mack, the founder of the Constitutional Sheriff's Peace Officer Association.
Hey Bill, thanks so much. It's great to be with all of you today. Thank you so much for being here. You know, the CSPOA was formed, as Mike mentioned, out of my lawsuit against the federal government. I'm the first sheriff in American history to ever sue the federal government, take it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court and win. Thank God. 6 other sheriffs from across the country joined us in this lawsuit, which was very instrumental in getting this to the Supreme Court. So Sheriff Prince from Montana, he joined right after I did, joined this lawsuit, and he and I actually went to New York, and we were both on the Phil Donahue show. Remember him? Mr. Liberal himself. But the thing of it is, folks, this decision is the most powerful state sovereignty, reinforcing the authority and power of the sheriff decision in the history of America. Okay? And that's why we're really excited about this whole presentation, is because it proves once and for all that the sheriffs are the CLEO, Chief Law Enforcement Officer. That's actually mentioned in the Brady Bill itself that we sued to stop. Sheriffs did more to save the Second Amendment in the last 75 years in this country than all of Congress has. And so this shows you the power of sheriffs. We saved the Second Amendment, and we're still trying to do so. Our responsibility as public officials and sheriffs is to protect the liberty and guarantee the God-given rights that we were all born with. Do you remember civil rights? That's what we're about. And all of this, folks, be very clear. This is for all people of all races, of all creeds, of all colors, of all nationalities. Freedom is for all God's children. And there's no exceptions, ever. Okay, so first of all, I want you to look at our logo. And there's 4 words at the bottom that I want everybody to focus on. Protect, serve, uphold, defend. That is our duty as peace officers. That is our duty as sheriffs. And that we are here to serve the people. How do we serve the people? Protect their rights. The Declaration of Independence says it, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. We are here to protect liberty. In America, liberty is first. So let me ask you a question. Who in our government, from Hawaii to Maine, who is in charge of protecting liberty? No, it's not just the Supreme Court. We do not wait for the Supreme Court to give us orders from on high. We are all in charge of protecting liberty. Your sheriff, your dog catcher, a street cop, a detective, the chief of police next door, it doesn't matter. We are all charged with protecting liberty. If someone in government violates the Constitution, does that give us some sort of responsibility and duty to follow and to go along with it? No, just the opposite. We are here to protect the rights of the people, regardless of what other government agencies or government workers do. We are here to protect liberty. So, I want to get into my presentation here and show you some of the things that Justice Scalia said in his decision when he wrote for the majority in this case. Isn't it kind of sad? The 4 Democrats sided with the Clinton administration, the 5 Republicans sided with me and the other 6 sheriffs. Folks, let's not play politics with freedom anymore. The Supreme Court is required to enforce the Constitution, not political dogma. So let's get into this. I'm going to change the channel real quick.
Feature video going viral. Posted on on the internet by two activists who brought a camera into the
And just so you know, this is an example of what we're after. This deputy sheriff does his job. Watch.
I've been here. Well, as you'll see in the video clip, an airport spokesman tries to stop these activists from their mission, but a sheriff's deputy steps in to settle the confrontation and the right to free speech.
And so, hey everyone, this is Ashley Jessica. I am here at Albany International Airport.
The young woman is standing outside the security checkpoint at the airport, telling the camera that she's there to hand out flyers to travelers, reminding them of their right to opt out of getting the body scan, which she claims carries health.
They actually tried to charge her with blocking the escalator.
First of all, turn this off right away.
Airport spokesman Doug Myers tells the crew to stop videotaping and to go downstairs, which they agreed to do, and they are confronted again.
You have $1 million insurance policy here. You're violating the airport authority guidelines. That doesn't matter to us at all. Okay, so you can check that out. You're in our airport.
But as the tension builds, Sheriff's Deputy Stan Lennox steps in, separating the two parties, then lays down the law.
Obviously, this is your constitutional right, okay?
As deputy saying, this is your constitutional right, he's enforcing the law, the supreme law of the land.
Myers objects, ordering airport employees to allow only ticketed passengers upstairs, accusing the activists of blocking the escalator. Once again, Deputy Lennox defends their First Amendment right.
We don't want that. I told you why. I'm Jason. You see your identification. He can show you why it is. He doesn't have to show you his identification.
The activists
You gotta love this deputy.
The video later posted to
So here's a deputy keeping his oath, upholding, defending the Constitution, and protecting their God-given rights to free speech and peaceably assemble. Man, what if we were all doing this? What if all sheriffs, patrol officers, deputies were acting like this instead of coming in there and throwing everybody down on the hard floor? He defended their right to what they were doing. Folks, we've got to do that nationwide. Deputy Stan Lennox from Albany. Love him. Okay? Now, I want to show you real quickly what we don't want to do. Okay? Now,
Now to a News 10 exclusive. A Stockton man wants an apology tonight for a wake-up call he should have never received. It is a story you'll only see on News 10. Lee Painter tells us why police and federal agents knocked down his door.
This is what they did to my door.
At 6 this morning, a SWAT team surprised Kenneth Wright at his front door.
In my underwear. In my underwear. Before I get to the door, I hear him say, hit it. And I get ready to hit the door, and they hit the door. They almost hit me. So I said, hold on. They hit it again. I said, hold on.
But the SWAT team busted in, taking Wright.
They come grab me by my neck and drag
can
me
you
out the
imagine
house.
what this guy did? A no-knock warrant? Busting in his door?
Searched his house.
And they put me in the backseat of a police car for over 6 hours. From 6 o'clock to 12:30. They had me handcuffed in the back of a police car with nothing on but my ripped up underwear that they ripped in the yard.
Wright says they also woke his 3 children, holding them for 2 hours. But they failed to find their quarry, Wright's estranged wife. Wright later complained to Stockton's mayor and police, but the city pointed to the U.S. Department of Education.
Did you hear that? The U.S. Department of Education had a SWAT team. Don't know where they got them. Maybe they have their own. Maybe they borrowed them from the FBI. But can you believe this? This was all because his wife, his estranged wife, who didn't even live there, did not pay her student loan. Now we're giving it back to him. And guess who the President of the United States was enforcing all this? Yes, Barack Obama. So, why would any police departments, Stockton, California, or Timbuktu, Arizona, or where are we today? Tampa, Florida. Would any police department go along with such nonsense as this? Why would you support the federal government doing crap like this? This man had committed no crime. They treated him like he was some international terrorist drug dealer, and yet he had committed no crime whatsoever. We checked, we followed up on this because the federal government said, oh, we don't do that. Yeah, but we can't tell you why we were there because it's an ongoing investigation. We found out they had 1,500 more of these ready to go in Houston and in California. So, the federal government is not our friend. Our friend is the Constitution. Now, I want all of you to read this. Who said this? There are two types of laws, just and unjust. I would be the first to advocate obeying just laws. One has not only a legal, but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, he said, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Who said it? Thomas Jefferson? No. Me, Sheriff Mack? No. That would be Martin Luther King. He said it, and he's absolutely correct. But I want to paraphrase this quote from Martin Luther King a little bit. Would police officers of this country have the responsibility to enforce unjust laws? Of course not. But then you ask yourself, I know what you're asking, I know what you're thinking. Who decides what an unjust law is? You do, just like Deputy Stan Lennick did. He decided how to enforce the law. It is your choice. It's called, what did they call that? Police discretion. We don't treat people like criminals who haven't committed a crime. So when the Supreme Court is wrong, when the executive branch is wrong, when the legislative branch is wrong, and we're part of the executive branch, we stand with the Constitution, we stand for liberty, and we protect the rights of the people. If it's an unjust law, don't enforce it. How many times was Martin Luther King arrested? Over 30 by peace officers who should have known better, who should not arrest people simply for assembling peacefully. A peaceful march. Martin Luther King professed peaceful solutions. We do also. We don't advocate violence at all. And if you look who's had some pretty hard, guilty trips with violence, look at the history of the federal government, especially the FBI. Folks, we don't believe in violence. We can stand for freedom without it. Now, each of us swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. That's exactly what we teach, and that's exactly what we want. Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution requires us to take an oath by law. Every facet of government, all three branches and members of all three branches of government are duly ordered, duly sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution. If the other two branches aren't doing their job, we have to stand for liberty. Okay. What is the purpose of all government? As stated in the Declaration of Independence, I've said it before, I'll say it again, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. That is our job. Okay, these are the two sheriffs that sued the federal government way back in 1994. The decision came out June 27, 1997. And these are the two sheriffs out of the 7 that ended up at the Supreme Court, Prince and Mack. And let's look at what this did. This is a quote from the decision. Scalia is actually quoting the New York case from 1992. And he said, "We have held, however, that state legislatures are not subject to federal direction." Is this pretty clear that the federal government is not our boss? They're not. Do you really think when the Founding Fathers devised the Constitution that they said, oh, let's make another central government that is just as bad or worse from King George III, who we just fought a war to stop. Folks, they did not create this mess that we have today. And the states have got to be pushing back so that we could do what? Save our country from the Biden administration of making it chaos and crime ridden at the border. You know who controls the border? The cartels do. Do you know who's crossing the border? International terrorists, Russian enemies, Chinese enemies, and anybody else who wants to come into our country. They're here. They're already here. And now we've got to find a way, as sheriffs and peace officers all across the country, to protect the people from what has happened at the border. Do you look at the fentanyl and drugs that have come into our country under this administration? It's gone up 100%. It is crazy. We have human trafficking that has gone up over 100%. We have sexual exploitation of children that's gone up over 100%. It keeps mounting and mounting and mounting. And what does Joe Biden want to do? Hire more IRS agents, 87,000 to be exact. Can you believe that? He causes all this chaos, won't do anything about it, won't hire more ICE agents, won't hire more Border Patrol agents. He wants more IRS agents. He wants to come after us. And want me to tell you a secret there? If the tax system of America was honest and simple, we wouldn't even need the IRS. Yes, we should abolish the IRS. Make the tax code simple and fair for every American, the same for everybody, and get rid of the IRS. These are a bunch of bullies who do not follow the law, who do not follow the Constitution, and they're not fair about anything. Let's take back America. Get rid of the IRS. Okay, we were actually, I have to tell you, this isn't from the Supreme Court, this is from the District Court. And it said that I was forced to choose between keeping my oath or obeying the act, the Brady Bill, subjecting myself to possible sanctions. You know what those sanctions were? I'm going to show you right here. This is a threat of arrest. If the sheriffs, the federal government, the White House and Congress said the sheriffs will enforce the Brady Bill, a federal statute, and we will enforce it for them for free, no negotiation. And this is what happens if we said no. Under a separate provision of the Gun Control Act, any person, the sheriffs who were ordered to do this, knowingly violates this section of the Gun Control Act amended by the Brady Bill, shall be fined under this title, imprisoned for no more than 1 year, or both. Folks, we have 3,086 sheriffs in America. 7 fought this. 7. And it's time for all of us, all the sheriffs of America, to unite and stand against the incursions and tyranny of the federal government. You think it's okay for them to threaten to arrest us? And I said, no way, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going along. Sheriff Prince said the same thing. 5 other sheriffs said the same thing from all across the country. And we won. Every sheriff in this country should be enforcing this decision, should know everything about it, and we bring this training to you. Now look, I was sitting in a Denver airport and I saw the USA Today, and on the front page was this article. U.S. drug agents, DEA, engaged in sex parties. Cartels supplied to prostitutes. Justice Review finds, for years, DEA agents posted in Colombia were having sex parties with the cartels. Do you know what happened to the dozens and dozens of agents that's this involved? Nothing. 0. Nobody was even disciplined. Nobody was charged. Nobody was indicted. Oh, but if you're a Trump, you're going to get it. Folks, we have got to get back to honest government and an honest justice system. And we, the sheriffs of this country, can help make this happen. We've got to take America back. We've got to restore our Constitution as the supreme law of the land. Now let me make one other point here. I know this is really fast, but this is just how it's going to have to be for right now. This is kind of a rush class today. But let me see. This is Justice Scalia he's actually quoting the Federalist Papers here. Federalist Papers, you ought to read that book. It was essays by the Founding Fathers, 3 of them in particular, Hamilton, Jay, and Madison. And this is what they said. Look at this. Hence, a double security arises to the rights of the people. The different governments will control each other. Did you hear that? The different governments will control each other. That's called a checks and balance system. At the same time that each will be controlled by itself. Is there any question as to whether or not the federal government will control itself? Not hardly. I'm sure most of you chuckled just then. This is from the United States Supreme Court and the Founding Fathers. I didn't make this up, but I am going to live it and enforce it. I hope you do too. Again, the federal government may not compel the states to enact or administer a federal regulatory program. What does that do to all the CDC mandates regarding COVID-19? Do you know that what we did in this country? There was even a sheriff in Florida who arrested a pastor for having church. In Florida, right here in Florida, a sheriff who has promised in God's name to uphold and defend the Constitution. Let's see, would that include the First Amendment? Arrested a pastor for having church. Then on the other hand, Sheriff Glenn Hamilton in New Mexico defended his pastor against the state government trying to shut him down. The sheriff even deputized and made a posse of the church members so he could make the church service official sheriff office procedure. Now, how do you like that for creativity? Did that Pastor Cooper, did he go to jail for having church? No. Did he keep having church? Yes. Was he defended by a good constitutional sheriff? Yes. And that's what we should be doing for everybody. You want to talk about other abuses? The federal government and some state governments are putting Amish farmers in prison because they don't pasteurize their milk. In America, federal regulations do not supersede someone's religious beliefs. And as well-intentioned as some of these regulations might be, they do not supersede my right or the Amish right to the pursuit of happiness. Let's stand our ground. Let's stand for America. I got to show you one other video clip.
Seats. Make a light on yourself. Let me have those seats. You gonna die. that seat, and she wouldn't move. I want her arrested.
Why won't you stand there?
Why do you all push us around? Will you listen to that?
The law is the law.
The law's the law.
Lady, you're incorrect.
The law's the law. Can I ask you a question? Which law do we enforce? Do you want to enforce this law? Or do you want to enforce God's law? Do you want to enforce the constitutional rights of this lady? Yes, this was Rosa Parks, December 1st, 1955. I cannot believe it. One, that I'm this old, but I was 3 years old then when this happened. In my lifetime, we were still doing this. Peace officers arresting a lady, taking an American citizen to jail because she didn't give her seat to a white man. Are we still doing this today? We just take our abuses to other people, like I said, the Amish. Or now, how about parents at a school board meeting? How about Catholics, Christians? Whoever gets in the way of the present administration, whoever disagrees, whoever questions the election results, they're attacked, they're arrested. Tina Peters was arrested for trying to secure election as the county recorder in Mesa County, Colorado. Folks, the sheriff should have stopped all this abuse, not gone along with it. We've got to get back to those basic fundamental principles upon which America was founded. May I use this real quickly? May I use this as a time to simply quote the Founding Fathers in the last sentence of the Declaration of Independence. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. I'm asking each of you to join us in this crusade to return America to its foundation, to its constitutional republic. No, we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic, and when you find out the difference, you know what side you're on. Stand with America, stand with your constituents, and let's take America back. God bless. Thank you so much for being with us. We're here to help you. Give me a call and we'll bring this training to your department in your town. Thank you.